Hey, good morning. Welcome to the kindergartners through fifth graders who are here for a family Sunday. If you're a kindergartner through fifth grader and you're in here, would you raise your hand? Awesome. Some adults raise their hand too. That's all right. It's a state of mind as much as anything. Let's welcome our kindergartners and fifth graders that are in here joining us. Hopefully you got a note-taking page when you came in. You're going to use this a lot today. Make sure you have one. We're in this series called Monday Matters, and if you haven't been here before, either because you're normally in kids ministry, in your small groups and large group, or if you're a guest here this morning, we've been talking about Mondays. The thing is, a lot of people talk about Mondays, but Monday doesn't get a lot of love. Now, tomorrow does, because it's Labor Day for many of us, and we're like, hey, no school, no work, it's great. We love Labor Day, but how will you feel about next Monday? Let's kind of talk about that for a minute. A lot of us will kind of feel this way about it, and it's not just people. Animals feel this way too. Look at this. Monday is my least favorite day. You'll see things like that shared on the internet because we don't like Mondays, or this dog feels this way. So Monday, we meet again. But it's not just dogs, cats too. Look at this. Hide, I see Monday. And then there's this one. Monday, it was Friday yesterday. Isn't it crazy how fast the weekend goes by? And then Monday to Friday takes forever. Mondays can be hard. Sometimes because of where we're going, sometimes because of the people around, sometimes because it's hard to kind of get into whatever it is we have to do that day, whether it be school or work or practice, whatever it is. But here's the thing. What we've been talking about this whole series is Mondays matter very much. They matter. So what I want you to think about for a minute is this question right here. Where does Monday find you? And when we say by Monday, Tuesdays as well, Wednesdays as well. And what we've been saying in this series is your Monday matters. It matters more than you think. And what if we could experience it differently by thinking about it differently? And what we've been talking about is some Monday matters because every Monday matters. Every day matters. And one of the reasons why is we typically find ourselves in three places. As a matter of fact, kids, if you have a note-taking page on the back, what I'd love for you to do is draw a picture of where you are on a normal day. Like a Monday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, that kind of thing. Or Tuesday, any day. School, you might have to do a couple pictures. School, and then there's family at my house, and then there's maybe you're on a soccer team or a basketball team, or you play in the band, or you go to dance, or whatever it is. Right? Draw pictures on the back of where you are on a normal Monday, and I would love to see it after we're done. Because what I want you to know, and I'm going to tell you this when you show me your picture, you're there for a reason. Yeah, because my mom made me go to school. well, actually, it's the government, and we're really grateful they're doing that. But here's the thing. I thank God. I really believe this. And if you read the Bible, I believe this. God puts us where we are for a reason. He put you in your family for a reason. He put you in your school for a reason. He put you in the class. Some of your friends are in another class and you're in this class. You go, oh, I really wish I was in this class. God put you there for a reason. Where you're working, maybe you have the day off tomorrow, but on a Tuesday, like you're there for a reason. You're staying home with those kids for a reason. You're going to that event every week for a reason. Wherever you are normally, I think God's right in the middle of that. Saying, hey, I'm at work here and I want you to join me. There's purpose for you there. And where you show up on a Monday, it can influence you. It starts to rub off on you and make a difference in your life. But what I believe is you can make a difference wherever you show up on Monday. No matter how old you are, how experienced you are, you can make a difference on Monday. Your Mondays matter. And typically for us, we find ourselves in one of three places. There's family, the people we live and do life with. There's our friends. We choose those people. Sometimes that would include the team. We don't always get to choose our teammates, but the people we spend time with out of school. And then that third category is school and work. And if you're in school, that's your job. You go to school, you go to work, and you do school work, and you do homework. And you're working to get better and develop and grow till you find your place in working in this world. And then you're going to work there for a long time. And wherever that normal Monday is, it matters. And what I want to talk today about is I think Mondays are so important. When you show up on a Monday, that's good news for the people around you. And your Monday matters because people matter. All people matter to God. And your place of where you show up on a Monday matters, whether it be at school or work or home. It matters because the people there matter and you matter. So I believe God very much wants to influence how you think about your normal everyday life, your Mondays. But we have a huge problem. See, every Sunday, what we talk about in here, when we talk about what God has to say in the Bible, or if you're in small groups and you're talking about how to live your faith out every day, everything you talk about on a Sunday, it really needs a Monday. A place where you can apply it and live it out. Actually, I think your faith could grow more on a Monday than any other day of the week. Because that's where you're showing up and you're applying and you're living out what you believe. But just like I think every Sunday needs a Monday to apply it, I think every Monday needs a Sunday. The Bible called it a Sabbath. Here's the truth about us, and statistically, 2 out of, let me get the stat right, 2 out of every 5 of you wake up tired. I think that stat is low. Even if you got 7 or 8 hours of sleep, the majority of people wake up feeling tired at least 3 days a week. 45% of the people say, I wake up and I just feel tired and I got enough sleep. What's the problem? I think the problem is something that God modeled for us on day 7 of the world. I think it's something that he put in a commandment that he said, hey, there's some things that are important for how you live life. Love God and honor me and don't worship something that's not me and don't kill people and don't steal. And he gave another one. And it's really what the problem is. He says what he knows about us, our Creator made us to live with margin. And if you're taking notes on the note page, there's a definition there, margin. Margin really is leaving some room around the edges. This piece of paper, the note-taking page, has margin, the space around the edges. If you write on a piece of paper, there's margin. The words don't go right up to the very edge. There's space around the edges. So if you're filling the blank, leaving some room around the edges. And on the margin of this paper, kids, what I'd like you to do is draw some things in the outside of this block, the margin space, where you fill up your time. Where do you spend your time? Like we have a soccer ball, maybe you're on a soccer team. There's a device, maybe you kind of have a device. On the back, you're drawing where you are on a Monday, but you might draw some people in your life. You spend time with people. Just draw some things you fill up your time with during the week. But that space you're writing in there is called margin. Most of us don't live with margin. Margin, the technical definition, is an extra amount of something, such as time or space or money, that can be used if needed. See, most of us don't live that way. If we were to look at our schedules and our calendars, we don't have a lot of downtime. If you went to the Global Leadership Summit this month, Juliet Funt called it white space. We don't live with strategic pauses that are not filled with anything. We just kind of fill up our lives so full, and then we wake up on a Monday and go, why am I so tired? You might, adults, enjoy that activity of writing the things that you fill your time with. Netflix. Binge watching. How has that affected our margins in life? Going to the tech game. Well, that's a good thing. Felt good yesterday. Better than a Baylor game. It felt good. Oh, that's unfair, right? That's unfair. I'll leave the Longhorns alone, too. I won't pick on you. It was a rough day. It's a safe place. What do you fill your time with? See, I had this kind of realization not too long ago. I do a better job of making sure that this is recharged better than I do that making sure that I'm recharged. Every night, man, I'm going to make sure. I even have a case that in case I run my battery, I can flip it over and it recharges and gives me an extra little boost. I can't do that with my time. At no point does somebody come in and say, hey, you've had a full day. I'm going to give you an extra 6 hours. Just go crazy. Find a series and fill it up with Netflix. That just doesn't happen. I think it's a huge issue for us. And really margin means it's the space between the load we take on and the limits we can handle. Margin matters more than you think. And I think one of the reasons we hate Mondays So we're doing it to ourselves. We show up and we're mad at Monday because we're tired and it's taking our time. And we don't have any space when we've never taken control of our calendar. The most convicting question I've been asked lately is, what would your calendar look like if God were in charge of it? Well, as a follower of Jesus, he should be in charge of it. He's never given me anything but his very best. And he's given me everything. Everything comes from him. Why wouldn't I offer him when I offer him my life, offer him my calendar as well? As a parent, it's convicting to say, what would my kids' schedule look like if God were really in charge of it? Do I fill it with activity or do I leave space for margin? Here's why I think it's important. You can look at the very first Monday in the world and God's creating the world. But then God made a choice on day 7. It's interesting in the Bible, Monday isn't in the Bible. Like there's no Monday, there's no Friday, there's no Sunday. The Hebrews, what they would do is they would number their days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Sabbath. That's how they talked about the week. It's day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Sabbath. But when the world was created, this is what we find out. This is the 7th day, day 7. The 7th day, God had finished what's that word? Work. God worked. God had a Monday where he showed up to work and he created things. Finished the work he had been doing. So on the 7th day, he rested from all his work. Then God blessed the 7th day and made it holy. Holy means set apart and special. Because on it, he rested from all the work of creating that he had done. Now, it's amazing to me that when I think about the fact that I work, that I have a job and I went to school and I contributed there and I go to work, I contribute there. In life, we work. God created us to do that. He created us to work and do things and add value to the world. But what he did on day 7 was so interesting. And this is not a margin issue where God had limits that he couldn't take on an extra day of work, but he's modeling something for you and me. Look at this word that's highlighted. And if on your note-taking page, it's on there. This verse is on here. And so write in work, work, work in the spaces. But then I want you to circle that word. He rested. God rested. Do you need permission to take all your vacation days? That doesn't come from HR. That comes from your Creator. He rested. He models for us that he worked and he worked and he worked and then he didn't work. He stopped. He paused. I think we violate this all the time. It's like a stop sign that we just roll through. We think this is more of a suggestion than it is a commandment. But like I said, Monday's not in the Bible. The only day that's actually mentioned in the Bible is this word, the Sabbath. It's in Exodus chapter 20. Remember the Sabbath day. That's day 7. This is what God modeled for us, and he says, this is what I want you to do. On the Sabbath day, by keeping it holy, just like he made it holy, we're supposed to keep it holy, to set it apart. It's special, to protect it. To not fill up all the margin, the extra space, and say, well, I couldn't get it all in the first 6 days, so I'm going to do this. 6 days you should do your labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath, a cease, a pause, a stop. Not just because you need it, but it's also an offering to the Lord. God, I'm going to rest because it's a way of showing, hey, you're in charge. You know what? I don't have to fill in 7 days to be satisfied. I don't have to fill in 7 days to hold the world together. I can do it in 6, because if you could do it in 6, and you told me I should do it in 6, that's good enough for me. I'll do it in 6, and day 7 is a day of trust. I trust you to hold it together. I trust that 6 is enough. On it, you shall not do any work. Neither you nor your son or your daughter, parents, he's talking to us, nor your male or female servant, nor your animals, pet owners, he's talking to you. I don't know if I really stress out my dog that much, but nor any foreigner residing in your towns. Hey, here's the deal, and I'm not being political. Refugees have always existed in our world. People, we're living in a time and a day and age of the largest displacement of people since World War II. They want to be home and they can't be. Right now in the Gulf Coast, we're seeing people, and we're talking about other parts of the world. Now in our state, there are people who are displaced. And in this, he says, I want you to have such investment in their lives that you encourage them honoring the Sabbath. Like, I want you involved in so many different ways in other people's lives of people who are in need. But ultimately, it starts with not me taking care of people who are a foreigner who's residing in our town, or animals, or kids. It starts with me making a choice for one person. I will honor the Sabbath. I will make it holy. I will set it apart. There's this rhythm that God asks us to go into. Day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, rest. Day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, rest. Here's the truth about us. We don't have rhythm. We don't. And it's hard to play, the band this morning, the vocalist, it's hard to play music without rhythm. That's why some of us aren't in the band. And if you get off rhythm, it messes everything up. The music in your life, many of us, it's messed up. In my life, it's messed up because we have no rhythm. And God said, day 7, he's like, look, I've got to model this because they're going to get it wrong their whole lives. And then he says, I've got to put on a list of commandments. Like, the list includes, don't kill people, don't steal, honor your parents. Don't make idols and worship other things. Look at verse 11. It says this. For 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that's in them. He made everything, but he rested on the seventh day. You know what God wants you to do? Rest. You know the problem with most of us, when we rest, we feel guilty. Or we feel like we're missing out. Or we feel it's impossible. God would not ask you to do something that is impossible. Especially if you involve him in your life. He will make a way, but we're going to have to make some choices. Some of us need a stop doing list as much as we need a to-do list. We need to push pause. Therefore, the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. There's something special there, but he said, this is a day where you recharge and we connect. And it matters. It's so important. Go back to verse 10 there. It's the only commandment that starts with the word remember. Remember the Sabbath day. I think he says that because he knows we're probably going to forget. How are you doing on this? And the goal is not for you to feel guilty. The goal is to say, there is a better way that God said from the very beginning, this is the rhythm we do life. And when you don't do it this way, it's going to have an effect on you. And it's not just you're going to hate your Mondays. It's not you're going to be tired. You're going to miss out on deep connection with God and others and being the person he created you to be. Maybe the reason we hate Mondays is we don't Sabbath well. I have a friend, his wife is retiring this month, but she works at a hospital in Toronto called Sick Kids Hospital. I mean, it's very clear what they do in their title. It's a hospital for sick kids. Couldn't be any clearer. They live in a part of town that has a large Jewish community. And Orthodox Jews who took this very literally, don't doing any work, they were worried about, and still are, doing something that would violate that. They really wanted to honor God. As a matter of fact, Jesus dealt with some people who got that real out of whack, but for the people around Toronto in this area, they just want to say, we just want to honor God by making good choices. So they have this thing in the hospital called a Sabbath elevator, where you don't even push a button. It just stops on every floor. Either that or a kid walked in and did the elf thing of brrr, like that all the way down. But I think it really is a Sabbath elevator, that it's designed that you just get on and you can just sit there and not have to worry about pushing a button. Now that may seem excessive for them, or seem excessive to you. But they're getting it better than I am. I am not honoring and remembering the Sabbath day. I'm not treating it as a holy, set-apart thing. Psalm 46:10, and this would be a great verse to memorize. Psalm 46:10 says this, "Be still and know that I am God." And I wonder if it's possible, if we're not still, to know God as deeply as we could. I wonder if being still is necessary to know God well. So what I want to ask you to do is to make a choice. No one can make this for you, but I want to ask you to make a choice. I want to ask you to choose this. I want to be still and know God because my Mondays need a Sunday. Or you could change it to Sabbath. I'm going to make this choice. I'm going to choose to be still. I'm going to find small pockets of time. I'm going to try and block off my week and say, I'm going to protect this time for me and the others that I can influence in my family. We're going to have some time where it's just about connecting with God and going at a different pace. What does that look like for you? I think this is an incredibly important choice. And here's why. I think here's what we need to do is we need to unplug so we can connect with God. I think Sabbath might involve not doing something as much as it involves not engaging something. Would you get the shakes if you turned off your phone for a day? And right now you're thinking of excuses. Well, what if somebody needs me? Okay. What if they don't? And what are you going to do to create space in your life? Just true confession, one of the first things I've done for a long time in the morning when I wake up in the morning, I check email. I just open up and scan through, is there anything urgent or pressing? And for anyone I didn't return their email right away, they're going, he checks it every morning. I knew he got it. But still, I do that. Like one of the first things I engage in the morning is my device. Just being honest. What do you do in the morning to start your day to say, today I want to focus. I want to start unplugged so I can connect with God at a deeper level. Maybe it's a morning routine. Maybe it's a weekly rhythm of your life that you say, I want to set up at the end of my week, I want to say, I want to make sure that the things that matter most, which is usually things don't matter, people matter. The people that matter most are the values that matter most. I engage those significantly. They went on the calendar first. And nothing will take it off the calendar. And then I'm going to try and fit everything else in. There's some things we have to do. You have to work to get a paycheck, and you have to go to school to get an education. Like, there are things that are there. Family commitments, they're there. But what are some things that are on your schedule that you could just create some space? I really think most of us, not all of us, are technology kind of engaged or addicted, but I think we need a theology for our technology. Theology is a belief about God. And I think when you take that phrase and you kind of include technology in it, is you could say a good theology of technology reminds us to unplug in order to reconnect with God. Some of us need to unplug. Some of us need to disconnect from entertainment or from the news or from a certain relationship. Or we just need to create space. The national average for checking your phones, 110 times a day. 110 times a day. It's a national average. And that's actually from several years ago, so it might have gone up. Because I feel like our addictions are ramping up to that. I want to ask you this week to be mindful of what you're engaging with. What does it look like for you to unplug or to push pause, to do life differently? Let me ask you a few questions. What are some practical things, and I'd like you to just think of one or two in your head. What are some things that you could do this week to push pause and rest? Genesis 2 tells us God on day 7 rested, modeling that for us. And then in Exodus 20, he mandates that for us. He goes, look, I'm going to put this in there with don't kill. Rest. Don't feel guilty if you're doing it. Feel concerned if you're not. What are some things you could do this way to pause and rest? And what are some things you could do this week to pause to connect with God? and with others. I mean, get practical. If you're not getting practical, you're not going to get moving on it. But think of some ways you can do that. What are some adjustments you can make to your schedule? What are some ways you can connect with others? We're relational. We're created for connection. And then again, for every single one of you, God placed you where you are for a reason. God knows what he's doing, and he said, Cooper West Elementary needs you as a teacher. I've put you here. Covenant Hospital needs you there as a nurse. I've put you there. This family needs you as a mom. I've put you there. When you show up there on a normal everyday, what are some things you can do to make that Monday matter? Every day is a gift. We should receive it gratefully from God and offer it back. Say, God, you gave it to me. I'm giving it back to you. What would you have me do with this today? How can I create a good rhythm of rest and reconnecting with you and others? How would you like me to make a difference? What is it you have for me here? Jesus makes this incredible offer to us when we offer not just our days, but our lives to him. He says in Matthew 11, he says this. Jesus said, come to me, all who are weary and carry heavy burdens. Statistically, I know that's some of you. Weary or carry heavy burdens. You might fit in one of those categories. Come to me and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. And he's talking here in a term that a rabbi or a teacher would use with his disciples. Take my way upon you. Take my teaching upon you. Follow me. Let me teach you because I am humble and gentle at heart. And here's the promise. You will find rest for your souls. Engaging my device does not make that promise. Engaging my Creator does. When I engage with him and learn from him and trust him enough that he is humble and gentle with me, and he says, this is the way, this is the plan, this is the path, these are the choices, these are the habits, this is how I want you to live. His promise where he will lead me is a place that provides rest for my soul. We've been looking in the wrong place. What would it look like for you this week to seek him? He makes this promise, my yoke is easy to bear, and the burden I give you is light. He says, this is what you're looking for. It's found in me. This isn't just a theology of naps, but it does kind of give permission, right? Some of you just started taking notes, right? Okay, pastor said I could take a nap. That's great. Kids are saying, I don't think I have to take a nap. Actually, yeah, Moses did from God. Commandment. Take a nap. Rest. And kids, I promise you, there's a time in life where you'll turn the corner from I hate naps to I crave naps. It's there. We live for the nap. It just happens. Because if you do life the way many of us have done it for years, you'll be exhausted. You'll be worn out. And kids, I need to apologize for me and others. Some of us have set terrible examples for you. I'm so sorry. Life is meant to be full because God makes it full, not because it's full of activity. There's a better way. And it always starts with Jesus and his plan and path. Next week, we're going to start a new series called Fearless. Many of us carry around fears and concerns. It's one of the reasons our Mondays are scary things for us. Where we're showing up or what God's asking us to do might cause fear. It might be something in our life. It might be a fear of the future. It might be a reality we're dealing with. But many of us carry these fears and concerns. And for those of us who are prone to anxiety and fear, the idea of being fearless seems like a lofty goal. God said it's possible. But let's just start with baby steps. What if you, instead of being fearless, could fear less? What if there's a better way? What if you could faith more? We're going to get very practical about how we handle fear and anxiety, the most common repeated command in the Bible. Fear not. It's possible. And God, when we take his way upon us and learn from him, he can lead us from a place of being fearful to a place of being faithful. And faith is not a noun. It's not something you have. It's a verb. It's something you do. And that's what we're going to talk about in this series that's starting next week. If you know somebody that is struggling with some fears and anxieties, this would be a great series for them. And I think it'll be a great series for you too. Tonight, we've got the picnic and baptism. I want to invite you to that. This is one of my highlights of the year. At 5:30, we'll have a brown bag picnic, which means you bring a brown bag. It could be any color bag. It doesn't have to be a bag. You can just carry the food in your hands. You're going to bring your own food. That's what we call a brown bag. It'll be a picnic at the pavilion, the south of the pool. You might want to also bring a compass. If you don't know which way is south, think, where's Tahoka? Where's Odessa? Odessa is always down, right? South, right? I don't know what you're thinking. So pavilion to the south, it's there. Bring some food, camp chairs and blankets. We'll hang out there for a while. Then at 6:30, we'll go into the pool, and we'll all go together, and then we'll do some baptisms first. A lot of people are being baptized tonight. We want to celebrate with them and let them know we're for you, and we're celebrating your next step in the faith. That's an exciting time. And then after that, it's free swim, which if you've ever seen the movie Caddyshack, it'll look a lot like that scene at the pool. It'll be crazy. Please wear a non-cotton t-shirt only in the pool. Swim shirts are okay. Cotton shirts are not okay. But it's also a great time to hang out around the edge of the pool and chat with people, meet somebody new, and talk. Again, we like connection, and we love celebrating with people being baptized. So join us there for, tonight. But here's the last thing. If you are on social media, if you'd like to check in on Facebook, this is the status. I will be still to know God because my Mondays need a Sunday. Use those hashtags. And you don't even have to check in to do this, but there's some mugs still out there from the series Monday Matters. If you'd like one, please take one. That's all I have for you. Let's stand for closing prayer. Heavenly Father, thanks that you love us and you're for us, and you actually thought it was so important for us to push pause in the rhythm of our week, in our schedules, to make sure that we scheduled time for rest and for reconnecting with you. And you talk so much about connecting with others. Many of us need wisdom of how to juggle all that we have. We need your help. We want to contribute to the world and make a difference. We want to be present with our families. We want to do time with friends. We want to do time in community. There's so much there. Give us wise hearts and wise schedules, and help us have the courage to put you in charge of our schedules, of our time. God, thanks that you want us to know you, and you ask us to be still to do that. Help us take some time today to be still, to know you deeper and know you better. And in that quiet moment, I pray we would connect with you and it would recharge us, and we could make our Mondays matter. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Hey, thanks for being here. If you'd like to talk, I'll be down at the front. Kids, if you draw a picture of where you are on a Monday, I would love to see it. Please come show me.